Hey folks, got another hobby update, channel update for you. What I've been up to, what's on the game table, what I'm painting. Quite a bit this week, actually. Change of pace from last week, which was pretty boring, actually. A good friend of mine over there in the Shetlands, he just recently sent me a little Wargaming care package. Today, actually, I got it. And one of the things in that little care package was Wargames Illustrated. And I thank you a bunch, Andrew, for this. I'm going to show you guys in the video what all he sent my way. But I do appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you very much. And we'll see what I can dig up for you, my friend. But anyway, one of the things he included was Wargames Illustrated. Now, it's basically Wargames Illustrated, the one that comes with the Black Sea ship sprues. And I'll show you some of them. He sent some of them as well. One thing about this magazine, I haven't had an actual paper magazine in so long, it's ridiculous. And I'll tell you, that I did a lot of reminiscing flipping through these pages. Everything is online, everything's PDF, digital format, you know, cheaper and so on and so forth. And it was an absolute joy flipping through an actual magazine. I mean, I remember back in the 90s and even prior to that in the 80s, this is all we had to go by, was our little paper magazines. Fantastic. And I'm grateful that there still is paper versions of Wargaming magazines still out there these days, folks. It's good. And this is a good issue as well. Foundry, of course. God, that looks like the same advert I've seen since back in the 80s. Amazing. But there's some good articles in here, of course, The Flames of War, some games I never heard of, Fantastic Beasts, as well as how to put your ships together for Black Seas, the ones that come with this issue, as well as some descriptions of the rules and so on and so forth, and a lot of other stuff in here as well. Yeah, I'm going to set this down and have some reading, bedside. Been a while. So yeah, Gaslands refueled. Look at that. Anyway, folks, I'm just looking at this and saying, well, you know, this is what a thing this used to be. I mean, I have so many back issues of, well, not back issues, old issues of Wargames Illustrated and Courier magazine from back in the 80s and 90s that stored away in the attic, some of which are still in shrink wrap, and everything, like I said, everything's digital these days. You know, there's no need for these. But man, you cannot beat the feel of a good Wargaming magazine or book in your hands. Nothing like it. So, yeah, I appreciate this, Andrew. Thanks for that. Also, I might as well show you the sprues that he also sent along. Let me get this out of the way. These, of course, are the Black Sea sprues. He sent me 4. There's a total of, let's see, there's 2 ships on this sprue. And these are the smaller ships. I think these are the brigs. You get 4 ships on here. Look at the detail on there. I'm very impressed at these models, just looking at them, and man, really been talking a lot about Black Seas, the models anyway, and really strongly considering it. I want to put one of these ships together at least and see what the end result is. Now, I should point out that with these, you don't actually get the sails or the rigging, the ones with Wargames Illustrated, but I think you can download the sails. They're paper. The actual ones are made of card, but if you print them out, they're paper. And that'll be fine for me. I could see myself buying the starter set and getting that additional, 9 ships on top of the 6 I have here. Wow. I'm good to go. Look at those little guns. This to me is way more attractive than 1200. I mean, I really want to do the rigging and the rat lines and stuff. And this scale seems perfect for that. I think the HMS Victory is like 4 inches, a little over 4 inches long. I mean, these ships here, these are like 1.5 inches. And these sprues are the bigger ship. I believe these are the frigates. These are about 2 inches long, the waterline. There's the back of the ships. I guess you have 3 different options, these little things. These seem a little fragile. It's all hard plastic, by the way, so you got to be careful. Use your little pliers there to pop them off the sprue. Yeah. Look at that. Just look at that. This is, like I said, much more an attractive scale. Why won't that focus? More attractive scale to me than 1/1200 because I like to do the rigging. I want to do the rigging. I want the details. I don't need a whole lot of ships. I could get by with like a half dozen aside and play squadron games, ship on ship. That's really what I would want to do. And this seems like an ideal scale for this as opposed to 1/1200. I mean, the thing about 1/1200, they're expensive. You have $15, $20 GHQ, for instance, for a single model, or Langton. And the rigging on them is much more difficult because they're, well, half the size of these, if you can imagine. So I'm really strongly considering getting into this scale, and I know there's not a lot of manufacturers. There's one in the UK, Meridian, I believe. I can't recall the name. They're expensive, as expected. But with 3D printing these days, you could use a service like Shapeways. As long as you have the STL files, you're good. Send them to Shapeways or give them to a friend to do the printing for you, or any other service that does 3D printing, and there's your ship models. I do actually know of a company that does make files for this scale, this era. So it'd be simple to do. It would be expensive, but, you know, if you're passionate about the era and this scale of model, I think it's worth it. And we'll see if Black Seas is successful. Yeah, we're probably going to see some other manufacturers come out with 1/700 scale ships. And of course there's the Blood and Plunder stuff. I'm not sure if they're 1/700 or not. I think they might be, or 1/600. But that's a whole different era. Ships are totally different in appearance and size. I much prefer the Napoleonics. But anyway, that's my thought on it. So once again, thank you, Andrew, for this. I really appreciate it. I'm going to dig into these, clean them up, put one together for you guys, and report on it in the future, and give you my thoughts on Black Seas and what's coming. One other thing I want to point out, one of my clients for Forge and Brush, he owns his own little company. It's called Shogun Miniatures, and I want to give him a little shout out and check him out. ShogunMiniatures.com. I'll put a link to this in the description. He makes bases, as it says, for the finest magnetic movement trays and bases. I usually use Litco, but he sent me a little sample, and I got to admit, these are really spectacular. And I'm going to show you some of them. These, of course, are just samples. This is sheet metal, okay? And these are magnetized plastic bases. You can see the magnetic tape or whatever that is on there. And on the, well, it is right here. You can see it. And on this side where you put the models, it's a hard plastic, and it's got a nice texture on there. Very nice indeed. You get these in various sizes. I think that's 1 inch square. I'm not sure. But they're magnetized. Perfect edges. He's got these perfectly cut. And here's one that's much bigger. I think that's like 40 millimeters square, something like that. And again, you got the magnetic strip on the bottom. It doesn't come off. And here's a round one for like 40K models. And what is that, about 2 millimeters thick, I would say? Something like that. I haven't checked his site out yet, but I'm definitely gonna. These are fantastic. And here's the thing. You get these sheet metals, and there you go. Look at that. No more rebasing issues whatsoever. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do with that. Very nice indeed. I'm going to flip it over. There you go. Look at that. So I guess these come in different sizes. There's no sharp edges. He's got these rounded just right. Nice and smooth. They won't catch on your cloth or your tabletop. Very nice. Worth checking out. And here's something even better. Check this out. The steel, it's got lips on it. So these would be your trays. And of course on here, it looks like 20 millimeter square bases. Again, like I showed you. Magnetic bottoms. Very nice. And they're on this steel tray with lips. Again, no sharp edges, perfectly rounded, and that is very well done. And I guess he makes these in all different sizes, so you can get them for any game. This solves all your rebasing problems you can imagine. And of course, these just pop right in there like that. Look at that. Really fascinated by this. Yeah. So there it is. So I guess this is what he does, and worth checking out, folks. Shogun Miniatures. ShogunMiniatures.com. Check them out if you're interested in kind of trays or bases that are magnetized. I don't know what other materials he might be using, but I know this is hard plastic on the top and magnetic on the bottom, and you got these steel trays or bases, if you will. So all kinds of uses for that. And of course, on the painting table, lots going on. I've been bumping up my game lately. I've got a new little video series I'm doing on my channel. It's called Paint Along with Fritz. And they're basically maybe 2 or 3 hours in length, maybe even just an hour. And it's just me sitting around talking the hobby and other things, painting up various projects for Forge and Brush and my personal stuff. And I did start that, so be on the lookout for that. I think I've got 4 episodes already up. You can join me, join the chat, sit there and have some great conversation, and even paint up some figures with me. So I am doing that here and there, sometimes in the evenings, in fact, which is different for me. I do most of my painting chats in the early afternoon. But, and speaking of painting chats, I'll be doing them once again. It's all a matter of timing. And you'll see them at the normal times, maybe even in the evenings as well. And they will be joinable, and we'll see who pops in to say hello and join the show. But there is that, and I have been doing quite a these little paint-alongs, and I could show you this commission here. These, of course, are Macedonians, 10mm Ames. This batch has their flesh painted, as well as red tunics. And, yeah. I think I've got 5 or 6 strips of these guys, good to go. And then I've got, let's see, about 5 or 6 more strips back here that are all just flesh painted. In fact, if we zoom in, you might be able to see them a little better. That's these guys in the back. I've got some strips that are ready to be primed, and I've got a bunch of primed strips going. Again, this is a project for about 137 AIM 10mm figures I'm working on. And right now, these are a priority. I've been working on these just about at every paint session I do. But I do other stuff, as you know, including other commissions. And one of those things is my AWI, which is almost done. I've got 3 more Old Glory figures to finish. I showed them before. I'm not going to show them again. But something else I got from my good friend. He sent along, with those little plastic ship sprues and magazine, Wargames Illustrated, a couple boxes of German infantry. And he knows me. He knows I love these figures. I love working on them. What's interesting is I've never painted up the models from this particular box, which is one of the older ones. 25 models in here. And everybody's been telling me, mix them up with the other box set that I'm very familiar with, which is this one. He sent this along as well. 2 boxes. God, Andrew, thanks a lot. I really do appreciate that. And anyway, getting back to this, one of my complaints with this box set is the lack of different poses. You know, I've painted up a bunch of diff squads for this, and they all kind of look the same. You know, you can only do so much with these parts. And everybody's recommending, you know what? Get some of the other late war box sets, or even the early war, and mix them up together. You get more interesting poses going on. And that's what the inspiration for this box is, because I am going to do that. So I've got 55 more models. I still have a 10-man squad I've yet to put together from my other box I have. So yeah, this is like 55 more models. I appreciate that, Andrew. That's great. These guys are definitely going to be on the table, and you guys that follow my Forge and Brush creations, these will be made available as well. So I appreciate that, and I'm excited to get back into these guys again. Fantastic. And on the board gaming front, earlier this week I did put out a unboxing discussion on this bad boy, Rhodes to Gettysburg 2, Lee Strikes North, MMP Games. This is a pretty pricey game system, or game, this box in particular. But boy, is it fantastic content. You get three separate games, basically, 3 separate modules of the system, great campaigns of the American Civil War. And I can't wait to get into this. I've been reading a lot about it, thought it would be worth the purchase, and I'm planning on getting this on the table as soon as possible, which will probably be in the next few weeks. This is next to hit the table. So before the end of the year, folks, I'm going to be playing some of this. And if you haven't seen the video already, my little unboxing, go check it out. I think this is a fantastic system, especially if you are really passionate about the American Civil War. It's a fairly complex game, but man, I'm telling you, it is worth it from what I can see. And I went through the contents and the maps, and that's another thing. These maps, the most beautiful maps I have seen for board games of any period or genre. So check this out. Multiman Publishing. I'll put the link to their site as well in the description. But before I do get into this game, I've got a game to finish up yet. And that, of course, is this game, Cedar Mountain, from the Great Battles of the American Civil War series by GMT Games. And yeah, I've had this on the table for a few days now. I'm still in the first turn, going through the various activations of the divisions and brigades and so on. Extremely enjoyable. This, to be honest with you, this game, this system anyway, is quickly becoming one of my favorites, period. I'm really enjoying the rich detail of the game system. It works great solo, and there's a lot of history that just comes out of these games as you play them, and you really do feel like you're there and witnessing this great spectacle that we call battle. And needless to say, I am very much enjoying the game. I won't go into detail about the actual gameplay. This, in particular, is a practice game. Yes, I know, another practice game. I know some of you guys are chomping at the bit for me to actually play Cedar Mountain. But this is my first go with all the artillery and the cavalry, and using the new 2019 version of the rules, which are slightly different in a few areas. Yeah, and so it's a learning experience, but it's one of those games that you quickly catch on in terms of the mechanics as you play it. It's kind of that kind of a game. You got to sit down and play. You can't just read it, because it is a lot. I mean, it seems like a lot to read and decipher. Really got to sit down, get the counters moving on the table, move those units, shoot those regiments, fire off those cannons, dismount and shoot those cav, all that kind of stuff, to really see how the mechanics work. And, you know, really, it's actually very simple mechanics. There's just a lot of them. But I'm loving it. This is right up my alley. Very enjoyable game. And I hope I could present the Battle of Cedar Mountain for you guys very informative and entertaining way when I eventually get to it. I'm still going to play a couple more turns at least of this. I've already learned a bunch of things, and tactically there's some things I want to try differently in the full battle. But it's good fun, great fun. I'm enjoying it. This is what's on the table currently, and what will be on the table probably for the next few weeks before I get into the great campaigns of the American Civil War system. So a lot of American Civil War stuff going on, folks. All right, we're almost at 20 minutes. I don't want to go too long with my update. That's pretty much it. I don't know what else is going on. I haven't done much with my role-playing yet. I'm still working on it. I got my Pathfinder that I'm reading here and there and enjoying immensely. Hope to get some games going to that later, before the end of the year, as well as Call of Cthulhu. But we'll see. I've got so many things on my plate at the moment. A lot going on. Things are moving fast, and I'm really enjoying my hobby at this point. So, folks, like, share, comment. What are you guys up to? What are you working on? You guys playing some board games too? Yeah. What are your painting projects? What's your favorite game to play or miniatures to collect? Let me know. I love your feedback. And as always, folks, you guys hang in there. It's only going to get better. And I'll talk to you guys again. Take care, folks.